It's an ambush.
Oh my God, it's an ambush!
It's an ambush!
Of course!
I don't want to go to bed. So I'm not gonna. I'm an adult. I don't want to go to bed. It has been quite a week. I mean, both real world stuff and work life stuff. I had a gigantic project that had to be done. It was initiated basically on Monday. Not basically, it was initiated on Monday. Had to be done by Friday for month-end billing. It was something that should have been initiated, I don't know, the first week of this month. But of course, mechanisms beyond my control conspired to put it all on the last week. And so myself and one of my coworkers speed ran this gigantic thing for the last 4 or 5 days. And of course, got it done because we, put aside several extra hours of our lives and stress and everything else to get it in on time and under the wire. But, just causes all sorts of burnout and such. And so I didn't get to enjoy the week as much as I did. And boy, it went by quick. And at the same time, it felt like it took a long time for some reason. I don't know. It's a very weird week, especially with all the news stuff going on, too. The crashes and the political stuff and all that. It's just a very busy week. But for some reason, I should be exhausted. I'm just not. I slept okay last night, but not great. And then today was just another, busy day with billing and everything else. And anyway, so rather than sit around in the dark and have all this sort of weird pent-up energy or something, why not sit down, have a Mexican Coca-Cola, and, I don't know, kibitz with you guys for a bit, or maybe watch some goofy videos or something. But who's joining me on this ambush stream? JB, good evening. K. Roberts, good evening. Johnny Blaze, hello to you. Draco Rincewind, hello. Super Mutant 2099, good evening. The Best Remy, good evening. Attack Alpaca, hello. Adam Nixon, hello. Who else is here? Alexander, good evening. Osan, good evening. G Scribbles ambushing us with a stream without telling us in advance. How inconsiderate. I know, I'm a jerk. Dom O'Leary, good evening. Red Feather 1, hello. Who else is here? Old Guy Gamer, greetings, Scribe. Scribe Light, waiting to pick up my brother at the airport. You have me until then. Then I'm on vacation. Well, congratulations. Old Guy Gamer on vacation with Bro Gamer. I'll say old Bro Gamer. There's Old Guy Gamer, Old Bro Gamer. Well, I hope you guys have a fun and safe and relaxing vacation. Hope it's somewhere warm. Let's hope it's somewhere warm. Derek LaRue, holy cats. On a Friday night. Thank you. Good gravy. Thank you, Derek, so much. As always, I always end up lacking the vocabulary to express how grateful I am for your generosity. That's crazy. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. Hope you are having a good evening and hope you enjoy whatever this turns out to be, because I have no plan. Unlike Captain Ramius, I have no plan. Alice Morgan, good evening. It's a llama. Hello. Who else is here? Oh my gosh. Unfair Ophelia, good evening. Frosted Glass, hello. And the Magister, good evening. Did I say hello to Darryl Odell? Darryl Odell, good evening. And I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, if anybody's lurking, if anybody's in the future, good evening. Yeah, so if you tuned in for a plan, you're in for disappointment. It's just been another crazy day. I think part of it is I got all I don't want to date this stream so much, but who cares? There was another plane crash today in the last few hours. Just days after another plane crash, or actually air collision, mid-air collision. That was that one. This was the plane crash, and there was a 12-year-old kid on board. It's just I was sitting around. I figured if I sat around just all by my lonesome and not doing something else to distract myself, I just brood. I hate that stuff, and I know. I was saying to myself, Scribe, terrible things happen every day. Disasters, atrocities, this, that, and the other. I don't know. Just something about just like a kid on the way back from a hospital stay who was there to get better, and then just something crazy happens. Just don't want to dwell on it. It's just too tragic. Too tragic. Need to distract myself. So this is the cheer me up stream. Maybe it's not I don't want to go to bed stream. It's just maybe I don't want to be alone with my thoughts stream. How's that? Makes more sense. Sounds like I'm getting ready to do an ad for BetterHelp or something. Stargazer Nuts. Hello. Scanner Daftly. Hello. And but anyway, Philadelphia. Yeah, Philadelphia. Anyway, all that's going on right now. So, what shall we talk about? I don't know. What I've been doing today. Well, in between work stuff, because you get that hurry up and wait stuff where you have to wait for somebody else to do their bit before you can do your bit. And there's a general time frame and how long it's going to take them to get it done, but you don't know for sure. So you're always having to go back and check. Are you done yet? Are you done yet? In between those times today, I was playing Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. It's a turn-based role-playing game, computer game thing based on the Warhammer 40K universe. It's pretty good, but man, I got cheated. I feel like I got cheated. So it's the first time I was ever playing the game, and I said, I'm going to be evil. I'm going to play an evil character. Well, at least evil insofar as the Warhammer 40K universe is concerned, because there's really, despite what they might say, there are no harps or halos in the Warhammer 40K universe. Anyway, so I said, I'm going to be evil. And so I spend the entire run of the main game to this point. And I think I'm pretty far into it. I think I'm just at the end of the 4th chapter or whatever. Every time that I have a decision to make, I pick the worst possible one in the sense of morality. Or when it specifically says, if you pick this thing, you're going to get, bad guy points effectively. And so I'm going to be evil because I'm working towards being the ultimate evil. And once you get to be the ultimate evil, supposedly, as was indicated by the game, a special mission will show up and you get to do this storyline and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I spend all this time being evil and picking all the bad choices. I'm going to be a bad guy. Mwah, twirling mustache villain, everything. And then I get to the point where I just need 20 bad guy points left, but bad guy points only show up in specific instances where you have to make a choice that is particularly bad. And when they're happening because they give you the option. It's like, what do you want to go this direction? You want to that direction? And I kept looking for those opportunities, but I just wasn't finding any. And finally, I got one on a big complicated mission. Little did I know that by getting my last points in this big complicated mission, it would lock me out from being able to do the thing that would get me to the end of that storyline. Because that happens elsewhere if you get the points before this stage in the story. And I didn't know that. And I was like, wait, what? And so I just felt defeated. I was like, I just wanted to be terrible. And now you're preventing me from being the most terrible or getting the big reward for being the most terrible. And so on top of month-end billing, on top of the real things in the world that are depressing aside from some video game thing, I just felt bleh. And then, of course, about an hour later, the plane crashed happened. I thought, you're an idiot. Everything is understood by comparison. Right? Everything is understood by comparison. So I don't blame the game. It's not the game's fault per se. It was just a matter of timing, or I didn't find the things at the right time. The game is fine. I mean, there's a couple of bugs that I guess they're still working out. But I like the game. I like the setting. I'm probably going to do another run of it as a dogmatic individual, as in I'm a totally good guy for the Empire kind of guy. But that'll be another thing. Anyway, so that was just, I know. Minuscule concerns in the real world. Also, hello, Bishop. And I thought I saw, I thought I saw somebody else here. Was I mistaken? Maybe I was mistaken. I thought I saw another familiar name on here. Mayhaps I was wrong. Oh well. Yeah, so that was part of my day. Also in being cold. It's very cold here on the moon. It's very cold on the moon. And my feet particularly get really cold really quick. I have I don't know if I have Raynaud's syndrome, which like, your extremities get bad circulation and get really cold really quick. But I tell you what, my feet, especially my right foot gets really like block of ice if I'm not careful. And then I have to like hold it up against a heater to melt it or something. Assassin of the Gray, I linked the show across the Discords. Thank you, Assassin of the Gray. Now gets to the mayhem with Dogcat Fox from Moonbase 001. Yeah. Angelverse, hello. Hope we're doing well. Yeah, I've got spindly fingers. I'm like that. I don't have a lot of body fat. And so I don't think it's that though. It's really just in the extremities. And when it's particularly cold, I have to like work a little harder to warm up the fingers and the toes. But anyway, I don't think you came here to listen to me talk about my feet unless you're one of those kind of people. If you're one of those kind of people, maybe you do like hearing about my feet. I don't know. Let's see. What should we do? What did I haphazardly put aside for this in case I wanted to do something? Well, I got a couple of videos here. Random stuff. Well, I guess not random in the sense that I picked them, but random in the sense that I didn't really plan for this or make a theme out of it. But what should I do here? Cold feet pics went. Yeah, I know. Blocks of ice with like toes on them. If that's your thing, I mean, that could be your thing. Let's see. I also had this window open here. That's right. Okay. Well, hey, how about a 1 minute and 10-second video from someplace, I think recently, telling us why affinity groups should be in schools. It's just such a weird experience now, watching the deluge of DEI information coming out. Sometimes productively, sometimes not, but either way, the focus on it all of the sudden, in relative terms, is kind of a through the looking glass thing for me, because for nearly my entire channel's life, for the most part, I've always felt like I was, shouting into the wind. As with, I think, a lot of people in, let's say, the realm that I've existed in for the last several years. And now it's getting all the attention you could possibly ask for. And yet, I still see arguments being made that, no, this is a bad thing. Getting rid of DEI is a bad thing. From grown adults. It just still baffles me. Baffles. If you stay in their baffles, they can't hear you. Anyway, that's the Red October thing. Anyway, so affinity groups fostering inclusive environments in schools. I think I'll shrink that down. Actually, I'll put an overlay up because, this is a transformative work, everybody. In case anybody has any confusion, this is a transformative work. What shall I use? How about, I don't have the school one up. How about this? We'll do the psychiatrist couch, because that seems appropriate. So yeah, affinity groups, fostering inclusive environments in schools. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds. Think we'll learn something? Maybe. Alan Thyler, thank you so much for the happy, smiley Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowie. Wow. Wow.
Oh, there's a sultry Your Boy Pat Dogcat Fox. Also, Kirsten Scholl is over on the X machine. Yes, I am simulcasting on X again. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to do triple casting on Rumble or something. We'll see. Anyway, let's see what this is.
Today we'll explore how affinity groups promote inclusivity.
This is an AI video, isn't it? That speaker at the bottom corner is like an AI-generated person, isn't it?
Build community and create spaces where every student feels valued. Affinity groups bring many benefits to schools.
So you say.
From celebrating diversity
to elevating race and gender above merit.
and fostering belonging to enhancing academic engagement,
Sure.
these groups offer emotional support and build cultural awareness, shaping a stronger, more inclusive community.
Emotional support. Oh, so it's therapy groups.
Creating an affinity group starts with identifying shared identities and interests.
That is an interesting choice of color scheme there for that advancing chart.
Setting clear goals and empowering leadership within the group ensures its success in building a supportive school environment.
Does it? Really? And what are these affinity groups based on? Just out of curiosity. Like what is the unifying theme of one group to the next?
While affinity groups are impactful, challenges like resource allocation and leadership dynamics can arise.
Sure. Like, why would we spend taxpayer time and money on these things which are inherently segregational? Is that the correct word? Segregation? Segregation? I don't know. My vocabulary fails me at the present.
Addressing these issues helps ensure all voices are valued and inclusivity thrives.
If it's inclusive, then why have separate groups? Why not just do it in a classroom with all the students?
The affinity effect highlights the power of shared identity.
Oh, what is it? Give me an example of a shared identity. Let's see. The card says the affinity effect. The affinity effect is the tendency for individuals who identify as African American to feel a strong sense of connection, belonging, and support when interacting with others who share a similar racial background. This principle, which underlies the success of affinity groups, can be applied more broadly to drive customer loyalty and engagement. Right. So, racial segregation is what you're saying. Now, Kiefer Dan, thank you so much. Oh, fundraisers in chat. Oh, I apologize. I didn't even think about it. But thank you, Kiefer Dan. Yes, everybody at the top of the chat box. Thank you, Kiefer Dan, for providing the link to the Global Giving fundraising charity for the wildfire victims over in California. If you guys can donate to that, please consider doing so. If you cannot, that's fine. But if you can, share that out on social media. That would be appreciated. And thank you, Kiefer Dan, both for your generosity and, of course, providing the link, as you always do. Everybody say thank you to Kiefer Dan, the channel's den mother. Also, hello, BV Luminous. Why does this sound like an advertisement? Correction. Why does this sound like a sales pitch? Correction. What's she selling? Well, I assume it's connected to the website address here, privateschoolvillage.org. What are affinity groups and why they are important in schools? But anyway, so the affinity effect apparently is only specifically applicable to African Americans. Okay.
In fostering connection and belonging.
Based on race.
By embracing this principle, schools create communities where every student feels supported and engaged.
Based on race.
Interested in discovering how PSV can support your private school experience?
Very much so. Tell me more.
Reach out today, connect, and learn how we can help you create an inclusive and thriving school community.
PSB, Private School Brentwood? Is that what it is? Or PSV? Must be Private School Village. Okay, so Private School Village is I assume, the organization that is promoting this. And that's it. Okay, so Private School Village telling us that we need to institute affinity groups, racial affinity groups, in schools. Private schools, mind you. It is saying private schools, so as long as they're not accepting federal money, technically, I think they can dodge Title VI. I think. Not sure, but I think. So, yeah. You can go to privateschoolvillage.org. Shall we do that? Let's see. Privateschoolvillage.org. Let's take a look real quick. See if that still exists. See if it ran away. Nope, it's there. Okay. Well, I mean, good on them. The very first thing on their page. Hold on, let me bring this up here. Let me move things around a little bit here to make things clearer. Got that. Do that. And we'll do that. No. This. No. There it is. Okay, well, it disappeared now. But the very first thing they had on their page here was well, it's disappeared now, but it was a splash page for, there we go, donations for the wildfires. So good on them for that. Can't complain about that. That's fair enough. What we do, our impact, how we work. Oh, what's your impact? I love impact. Impact's a great new term for things. Our impact. Well, okay. Community impact report. how we work, racial literacy. Racial literacy, representation, research, racial socialization, belonging and mental health impacted. Impact areas. Student well-being, mental health. The impact of isolation is akin to smoking 11 cigarettes a day, according to the Surgeon General. Racial socialization is the antidote. What? I'm really reading this. This is 2025. Can you imagine someone pitching this as how we should behave in schools like in the 1950s? The impact of isolation is akin to smoking 11 cigarettes a day, according to the Surgeon General. Well, heck, if that's the case, then I must be smoking. I don't smoke at all, but man, I must have, basically, tar lung at this point. Racial socialization is the antidote. Inclusive and equitable school communities. Parent and student engagement impacts student experience. Systemic and institutional policy and process change. Parent education, engagement, and advocacy yields awareness and... It must be like just a screenshot of something. Oh, man. Dare I read the report? Okay, let's read the impact report. Oh, I have to go to another screen now? Okay, I have to go to another screen now. Let's do that. Let's go to the other screen. Let's read the impact report. Let's see. Is this showing up okay? I can't tell right now. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, it's a flip book. Letter from leadership. How old is this? Doesn't say. As we prepare to begin another school year, I assume it's relatively recent, and PSV's 6th year of operations, we are filled with gratitude for your unwavering support and dedication to our mission. Your generosity and commitment have enabled us to achieve remarkable milestones and make a tangible difference in the lives of countless private school families. They have to be very specific about this. They don't accept federal funds, I assume. Private School Village's work across school communities is rooted in a unique approach that makes all the difference. Because of it, together, in this past fiscal year alone, we... Point number 1, awarded partial scholarships to 6 families across 5 Los Angeles private schools, investing over $200,000 in funds for the duration of these recipients' elementary experience, pending annual renewals. I wonder if there were any particular conditions on who received these scholarships. I don't know why I'm asking that question. Continued to co-sponsor community members through the AABLI 3-week virtual board leadership training, bringing our total number... benefit of the work of this, partnered with the blah, 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 engaged with the blah, 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 and okay. Private School Village. Oh, it started in 1991. Well, they've been around a while. Foundational research. Dr. Howard Stevenson's SAAS research on black students in independent schools recommends schools band together to racially socialize students across schools as a means to ensure healthy human development. Racially socialize for healthy human development. Okay. 2018. That's a large jump of time, but okay. The Village begins. Black families gather in August 2018 for a family picnic. What started as 75 initial RSVPs grew to over 500. Based on race. PSV was founded as the first 501c3 nonprofit organization that works to support families once enrolled across private schools so that students fully thrive. Based on race. I can legitimately say that after every statement in this thing. In partnership with private school families and over 30 founding champion school partners, PSV initially focuses on increasing racial socialization for black families. I can believe it. Our first year, in fiscal year 2019, PSV started with 219 members, 99% of whom were from Los Angeles County. Hosted 6 community-wide events across the school year, including our first annual speaker soiree in November of 2019. We also identified the 4 PSV programmatic pillars: racial socialization, racial literacy, representation, and research. Great. 2020 _COVID-19. Early pivots. From realizing our largest monetary donation from a single donor of $25,000 to having over 640 RSVPs for a 2-hour webinar about race. Oh man, That must have been just a wonderful old time. 2 hours on race. PSV continued making an impact when many other organizations struggled to pivot. Well, I mean, if you're just a web-based organization doing webinars, then sure. Additionally, we launched our first program, PSV Parent Ambassadors, and conducted our first K through 12 Parent Climate Survey. Parent Climate Survey. Hey, how hot are those parents? Finding our way through post-COVID. Our first multi-year plan prioritizes 3 goals: operational growth, welcome and support subcommittee for Latinx, Hispanic families, and geographic growth. Oh, it's spreading. It's spreading like a mold. As of May 2021, PSV has built a network of over 3,400 community members, and even with no active marketing outside of the Los Angeles area, 14.1% of those community members are represented non-Los Angeles-based households. In 2021, there are 47 school partners. Oh, great. It's getting worse. It's getting worse over time. 2022, quietly rebuilding. Rebuilding from what? PSV starts to implement initiatives to reach the 3 goals, including launching Somos PSV, don't know what that is, soliciting interest in various markets for possible growth. I apologize, the text here is very small. Additionally, fundraising to support operational growth and in support of the Village Scholarship begins. With 60 school partners, PSV hosts its first socials for Black high school students. Great. Just wonderful. 2023, transformational time. Autobots, roll out. PSV secures an anonymous seed donation to fund national growth into additional markets. Good. With 67 school partners, PSV awards our inaugural Village Scholarships to 5 families and 6 private elementary schools. Wonderful. As a result, PSV launches a nationwide survey to better understand economic experiences. Okay. So I guess this is up through 2023 at least. All right. 2021, retrospective goals, operational growth, geographic, yeah, okay. Year in review, partner schools, Teacher of the Year Award. Oh my God, Parent Program of the Year Award. Crossroads School for Arts and Sciences Black Family Alliance for Project X. Project X? Is that, hold on a second. Is that Matthew Broderick with a monkey or something? That probably doesn't sound very good. There was a movie called Project X. Matthew Broderick and a chimpanzee. It's a thing. That was the reference. Cryptic, don't go to bed. Sleep is for the dead and weak. Well, you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead, just like Clive Owen. I can make all types of movie references. This honors in recognition of increasing racial socialization and or racial literacy. Project X, a joint initiative between Crossroads parents, faculty, and staff, does both. Wasn't Project X also like that? Was that movie that like Matt Damon showed up in? It's like a big rave at somebody's house. There were 2 movies called Project X. There was like one where it was like a big rave at somebody's house, and then there was Matthew Broderick in a space program. Something like that? I don't know. What else we got? Ooh, the Hollywood Reporter. Hollywood Reporter did a story on this? Oh my gosh. Look how popular this was. I wonder how popular it is now. Wow, a funded, growing program to encourage racial segregation and racial pride in schools amongst elementary kids and onward. That's great. That's great, Bart. A condensed graph depicting average household income from survey respondents. Okay. What's the lowest end? 25,000 to 99,000. Okay. Wow, there's quite a large proportion of 100,000, 174,000. Oh, okay. Well, lucky people. I guess for private school, it's what you got to do. And financial highlights. Thank you, donors. Okay. Well, anyway, there you go. Private School Village. is all about racial segregation. And racial literacy, racial socialization, racial literacy. It's good to know. It's good to know. Peter. Hello, Peter. Making kids racist. Brilliant. Yeah. Telling kids, hey, your race makes you valuable and special and inherently separate from anybody else who doesn't look like you. JB, thank you so much. Do they teach shamanism? Could be. It's private school. They can pretty much do whatever they want, I think. Within reason. And, well, actually, no, without reason. Especially if they're pushing racial identitarianism. So, but let's see. In that same theme, why not? What else I have? I start talking about work stuff, and then plane crashes, and then Warhammer 40K, and then we go into affinity groups, and then organizations for pushing affinity groups. How about a panel discussion? You guys like panel discussions, don't you? Well, if you don't, too bad. What is this one here? Hold on. Let me try to class this up a little bit. Yeah, so this is inclusion and belonging in the workplace and beyond. So we've gone from the classroom to office space. How's that? I don't even know who this is. It's what organization is doing it. This is just from my stockpile of random stuff I've collected. Let's find out. Oh, is this going to take a while? Oh. Hi. Hello. Are you there? Okay, so what was that guy's there was a comedian. Oh, what was his name? There was this celebrity personality from like back in the 80s and 90s. He was like this short guy. He always looked old and he had these really thick black glasses. And he was always running around and being, what was that guy's name? Somebody in the chat's going to know who I'm talking about. Somebody as old as me is going to know who I'm talking about. But either way, no, it's like, I want to say his name was like, what was his name? No, it wasn't Richard Mole. Oh yeah, there's Harry Carey. There was Harry Carey. Oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. This guy's name. He had like short, cropped white hair and big, thick, black, goofy glasses, and he had a really high-pitched voice. Oh my gosh, what was his name? I don't remember now. It's one of those things that's gonna bug me until I find out later or I remember it. Anyway, it's not Lewis Black. It's not Harry Carey. Good tries. Not Danny DeVito. Man, this is... Oh, gosh. This is going to drive me nuts. Okay. White hair. Black glasses. He was like a comedian or something. Oh, man. Yeah, this is driving me crazy. I don't remember. As soon as I see it, as soon as I see the name, I'm going to know. I want to say his last name was Munt or something like that. It was like, for some reason, that name or sound comes to mind when I think of this guy. Anyway, I'm going to stop fretting about it. Let's move on. You guys don't even know you're live, do you?
We have
not live.
Coming in now, so we'll give it just a moment till everyone can join.
Okay, give it just a moment. No, it wasn't Jiminy Glick. It wasn't Gene Shalit. No, Gene Shalit had a fro and a mustache. No, he was like a short kind of chubby guy. He had kind of an effeminate voice. He was always very spastic and running around, and he had these thick black glasses, or always had like really like big glasses. Maybe they weren't always black or something. God, what was his name? Drive me nuts.
Zoom. But I would like to welcome everyone. Thank you.
No, not Truman Capote. It wasn't Truman Capote. No, this was like a comedian guy. This is like a comedian guy he's the kind of guy that you'd see on like Hollywood Squares or something. Just one of those like side comedian guys. Now, Hannah Gadsby. Wait. Earl. Is that it? Earl. Is that it? No, it's not. No, that's way too old. Not Madman Months. God, what was his name? That's just gonna drive me nuts.
Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. My name is Katie Van Horn, and I think we are good to go. I think we have most
Oh, Katie Van Horn is a she/her, guys. Just in case you had any questions, it's down in the bottom corner.
of the folks that were in the wait.
No, not Gilbert Gottfried, not Louis Anderson, not Drew Carey, not huge. Nice try. Charles Nelson Riley, no. I swear it's. I know this person existed, and I know it's nobody that anybody's listed so far. But I swear to God, as soon as I hear that and I read that name, I'll know it or something. It's like right on the edge of my brain. The guy's name. I think he passed away a few years ago. Oh man.
Waiting room have now joined. So welcome to this conversation. I am very privileged to share the stage.
Privileged? Is it white privilege?
With some amazing partners and some amazing folks that definitely understand the importance of inclusion and belonging. So would love to welcome you to this session of inclusion and belonging in the workplace and beyond.
Well, I appreciate your welcome. I'm glad to be here.
As I said, my name is Katie Van Horn.
Hi, Katie. I'm Scribe.
I'm the Chief People Officer for WebPros.
The Chief People Officer for WebPros. Okay.
And currently freezing in Houston, Texas. I do wish I was back home in Arizona, but would love to introduce the folks that are going to be on the panel here today. And
okay, I have to pause occasionally because of YouTube reasons.
We'll start off with you, Carmen, if you don't mind. Would love for you to introduce yourself and share why today, especially in the current environment that we're in, why is inclusion and belonging important to you?
Yes, please tell me. Tell me why. I'm not going to do it again. I've done it like twice in the last week. I'm not going to do it again. At least not right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Katie. Carmen Jandasek. I have worked at Arizona Public Service in the Human Resources Department, going on my 30th year here.
Okay, so a state official? All right, Arizona.
I have worked with one community and certainly many other people in the community that really reflects the importance of inclusion historically. But as we sit here today, especially from an employer perspective, never have I ever seen the level of choice and agency that employees have that I've witnessed in the last few years.
Choice and agency. Right. Okay. So I'm still trying to. So it wasn't Bruce Valanche, just for clarification, but it was someone kind of like that. Someone who kind of existed just outside the fringe of actual, like, celebrity. Is that? Hold on, is that who it is? Hold on a second. No, not Rip Taylor. I know. This is just gonna drive me up the wall here. Okay, it wasn't Paul Lind. It wasn't Charles Nelson Riley. It wasn't Rip Taylor. I just need to see a picture of the guy, for crying out loud. He was like, what was his name? Munt. I don't know why that name keeps coming up. Not Felonious, Felonious Monk. I put in Munt into, not Anson Mount. Okay, you know what? Forget you, Google.
They want to align themselves with companies that recognize and that see them holistically. And it's now more important than ever to really demonstrate that as an employer.
How do you demonstrate that as an employer? Tell me how.
And when I think about the crucible of incredible change velocity that we are experiencing in everybody's workplace today.
Change velocity. No, that's a phrase I don't think I've heard before.
And the resilient straining events, external events, most importantly, that are happening. Many times it feels like to us, right?
Right. Yeah, it feels like it's happening to us. That's sort of like a self-created problem. Grisilla. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Lil Mole Zizlak. Good evening. Govan. Andy Kaufman. No, it's not Andy Kaufman. Good gravy. This shouldn't be that difficult. He would like show up on David Letterman's show and run around and be crazy. He was just this short guy with like cropped, like he had white hair or like really, really gray hair or something. And he had big glasses and he'd always be very, very enthusiastic and he'd run around doing stuff. I don't know why I suddenly have this stuck in my mind, just because of her glasses and her general look. And it's not Rip Taylor. It's not Rip Taylor. I swear it's... I know. This is frustrating. I'm not dismissing things just for the sake of dismissing them. I know exactly what you're talking about when you bring these names up, and it's not that guy. He wasn't super duper famous. He was just one of those guys that existed on the fringe of things, but was sort of like someone that people knew when you saw him. And I can't remember his name. It's driving me up the wall. Up the wall. Now, it wasn't Elton John. What did he do? He was just sort of like this comedian, sort of clown guy. He wasn't actually a clown, as far as I know. Not Ed McMahon. Calvert. Wait. Yes, Calvert DeFrost. That's it. Calvert DeFrost. Nate Malice. You win. You win all the things. All the things. Nate Malice. You win. Thank goodness somebody said. Drive me nuts forever. I don't know why I said Munt. I don't know what that had to do with anything. I don't know where that came from. What association I was having there. Yes, Calvert DeFrost. Good gravy. Yes, look up Calvert DeFrost to see exactly what I'm talking about. Big glasses, short hair, old guy, yeah. Anyway, all right. Nate Malice, you win the day. Thank you so much. That would have, the only other thing, there was one thing that always drove me nuts for years. I worked in a watch store, a sort of like chain watch store, not a chain watch store, but a watch store that was a chain. Anyway, when I first got out of college, and we had to play these pre-recorded discs of music in the store on this machine that would only play these discs. And so we had a very few selection of songs to play from. And they all had this weird stuff they'd licensed. Some, yeah, or Bud Melman. That was it. Munt Melman. Yeah, Bud Melman. Yeah, Bud Melman, Calvert DeFrost. Yeah, okay. That's it. Bud Melman. That's where I probably got that from, the Munt Melman thing. Anyway, Bud Munt. And there was all these collections of songs on this one disc. And out of all the discs we had, the 5 or 6, there's only one that had some songs on it that I kind of liked, but interspersed amongst them were some other like weird songs you never heard of before or other things. And there was this one song that was really catchy and got stuck in my head, but I could never, after I left that job, I could never find the song again. And for the life of me, I could not remember off of the label what the name of the song was or the artist. I just remembered a little bit of the lyrics and that it was Way Out West. I'm way out. And I was like, how do I find this? And so I used Google, but unfortunately there's like a band called Way Out West and there's a zillion songs called Way Out West. And I can never remember all the lyrics, just kind of the beat. And for years, I'm talking from 2002, basically, up through about, 2018 or something, 2017, 2018. I just could not remember the name of that song. I could not find it. I remembered little bits of it. And then I forget who it was. It's on my Twitter feed somewhere. But finally, I just broke down because I was in my early days of using Twitter. I just put out there, hey, I can't, this is driving me nuts, been driving me nuts for years. Every once in a while, I'll think of it again and I can't find it. Does anybody have any idea where this song is? All I remember is that there was the lyric Way Out West and something, whatever. And that's it. And it had to have come out in the early 2000s or the very late 90s or something. And it was a girl singing. And some genius on Twitter within like an hour or something figured it out and sent me the answer. And I was so grateful. And it's a band called Submarine and a song called Way Out West. And it's still difficult to find. Thankfully, somebody did upload the whole thing to YouTube, and it's got like 5,000 views or something. I think probably about 3,000 of them are mine. And it's not even like the greatest song in the world or something. It was just one of those things that I just like, you think about it from time to time and you try to remember, and it just drives you nuts. And eventually you start thinking, am I making this up? Am I filling in the blanks with false memories or something? Am I ever gonna, complete this quest to find this song, this thing? And and thankfully, Bud Melman. Yay. And thank you, Keeverdam. DeForest. Yes. Calvert. It said DeFrost on that. DeForest? Okay, DeForest. Pardon me. I said. Or Larry Bud Melman. Yes. Thank you, Keeverdam. Very much. Appreciate it. But Calvert DeForest. Bud Melman. Okay. That is solved.
Right. From an employer perspective, it just refocuses us on our mission to ensure that every single employee.
Okay. Shio Gorath found the tweet from 2018. It was 2018. I was just kind of throwing that out there. I was like, was it 2018? Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah. So if you want to transcribe that into your tweet machine, that is the tweet where it all came down. And a mystery that had bugged me for years was solved in like a few minutes on Twitter. Oh, the power of the internet. Let's see. Islam. I spent years trying to find the name of a kid show. Finally found it. Ace Lightning. Well, yeah, see, isn't it one of those things like there's something that for whatever reason has drilled its way into your subconscious, into your mind and your memory, but it's so obscure and it's so long ago and it's so, and it like eats at you. From time to time, it comes back and like, what is that? Can I find that? I just need to satisfy that need to make sure that I wasn't nuts and that little piece of my memory is justified in some way. K-Show, Calvert DeForest was in the music video of Vince Gill's song, What the Cowgirls Do. Yeah, like I say, he was all over the place in little places. He was sort of like a Forrest Gump type. He just show up in different places. I'm sure he had a much more complicated career than even I'm aware of. But yeah, he'd show up on Letterman as like the Bud Melman.
Feels included, feels seen, and when they're at work, they're experiencing a workplace that views and sees all of them and everything that they're bringing into the workplace. So
I don't know that I want to go anywhere where someone sees all of me unless it's very, intimate.
It's never been more important than what we are walking into today in 2025.
Oh, okay. This is very recent. Or, yeah, 2025, all right. Is this after the election?
Alexander,
I assume so.
would love to turn over to you and your special guest that you have in the room with you.
Special guest?
For everyone watching, my special guest, her name is Lydia. She's usually right here with me
Oh, putty tat. Always love a putty tat.
every day. I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at GCC, Glendale Community College, for those that are not familiar with it.
I am not familiar with it, but now that I know it's a community college, I assume then it is the recipient of federal funding in some way, shape, or form, and you're a chief diversity officer therein. Okay.
And I am residential faculty there. I've been there for 8.5 years. I've been in higher education for the past 16 years.
Uh-huh.
I think for me, the biggest reason that diversity, equity, and inclusion, access, belonging, whatever acronyms you want to put out there are important is because diversity is not going anywhere. It's always been present.
Well, diversity in the dictionary definition, yes. Diversity in the DEI definition is discrimination, tokenism. That's what it is. And that has also always been around. We've been trying, purportedly, as a society, as a nation, to, at least in official terms and in acceptable social terms, work our way out of giving into tokenism. But there you go. Red Feather 1, sorry, off topic. That presumes there's a topic that I'm sticking to on this. I don't want to go to bed. Off topic, but any predictions for Groundhog Day? Puxatawny Phil will come out of his hole. We'll see if I'm correct. Supermutant 2099. There was a movie I forgot about for years. Back of my head remembered. 1 October, watching it for my Halloween-a-thon. Oh my God, I remembered. It's the 80s vampire movie called Sundown. It's with Bruce Willis, Campbell, and David Carradine. There you go. David Carradine. Oh, man. You know, every time I think about David Carradine, I get a little choked up. Just one of those things, you know. I just, yeah, I know, that's bad. I am not a stand-up comedian. If I try to wear that hat, I really should just hang it up. Anyway,
It's just been present in multiple different forms. Now we're able to see visibly what some of those forms are. We're recognizing more that there are a lot of different types of diversity that exist.
Oh, really? Would you like to name some of those elements that the forms that they take? Like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
But I think part of our missions is for everybody to be able to thrive at our institutions. And
Everybody? Okay, I was about to do another, like, Backstreet Boys thing, but I'm not going to do that now.
in higher education, it's not just about surviving, but how do you do well, not in spite of that institution, but because of the institution? And if we're going to have that because of or due to the way that the educational system or the institution is set up.
Well, maybe if you're going to do well because of the institution, it's because you have teachers that know their subjects and are effective educators. And of course, the onus is as well on the student to pay attention and do their work and achieve and succeed. It's kind of a two-way street, you know.
Then the institution has to know who's coming through the doors and not expect everybody that comes through those doors to be prepared for the success that they're trying to get them to.
Why not? So wait, is it the school's responsibility to get me prepared for the success? Maybe it's just me, or maybe this is the policies of the distant past now. But when I went to college, I didn't get a lot of hand-holding. Or if there wasn't any, I didn't look for it. I kind of knew what I had to do. I paid attention, but maybe that's just old-fashioned now.
But understand what is it that they're navigating in order to help them navigate that to get to that level of success, whether it's a student or an employee.
What are you talking about?
We have to understand and be flexible and ready to pivot a little bit in order to help those people stay with us and achieve the goals that they want. Or
I would love to hear of an active example of what he's talking. I honestly have absolutely no idea what he's referring to.
Unless we want high turnover or something like that, or we want high levels of issues of discrimination and harassment happening at the institution. And a lot of those things don't always happen intentionally.
A lot of those things don't always happen. Discrimination doesn't always happen intentionally. Oh, are you talking about like microaggressions?
It's because someone doesn't understand something about someone else or how that person might relate to something. If we had more understanding about the people that are with us, then it would help us navigate and make choices in a different way.
And walnuts.
Thanks, Alexander. And Michelle, would love to turn it over to you.
I would love for you to turn it over to Michelle as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm
Hi.
Michelle Boggs. I'm the
Michelle, I don't know what your gender is. I don't see your pronouns.
Staff Vice President for Talent Acquisition and Organizational Development at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona.
Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona. Oh, so a health insurance organization. Oh, well. Okay. Tell me more.
I'm also the Chief Diversity Officer.
Mm.
And the reason inclusion or diversity, equity, and inclusion, sort of to Alexander's point,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
No. Well, whatever I want to call it. Okay. I'll call it rampant virtue signaling discrimination and violations of federal law. That's what I want to call it.
Is so important is because, quite frankly, long gone are
Long gone day. Whoever said we'd wash away with the rain? Anybody recognize that one?
the days of the IBM blue suit that everybody had to wear. And it kind of set the culture and the standard for what was acceptable.
Yeah, setting professional standards of conduct and dress code. Yeah, I know. It's a goofy idea.
In today's work environments, employees come in and help to establish the culture and the standards of organizations.
Sheogorath is close, but not quite. He said Alice, which is a shortened. Oh! There you go. Mad Season, exactly. Yes, Lane Staley was the singer on Mad Season, who was obviously the lead singer of Alice in Chains. But Mad Season was a side project with several different members of other bands like Pearl Jam, and I think wasn't there somebody from Mudhoney in that band? I forget now. I could be mistaken with Screaming Trees or something. Anyway, a bunch of people from different bands. I think McCready was on there. It's been a long time since I've looked at my Mad Season album, but yeah. Anyway, some songs stick with you forever, and you need Twitter to remind you.
And if your organization welcomes that diverse viewpoint, welcomes their background and their experience,
and their race and their gender and their orientation, because saying background and experience is a throwback to the early days of D&I.
You are more likely to attract and retain top talent in your organization.
Talent is, at best, a secondary, probably a tertiary consideration when it comes to DEI. Now, could be more. It could be even more, depending. But at best, it is a secondary consideration.
And from a business standpoint, that's the imperative.
That's not what DEI's imperative is. DEI's imperative is not attracting the best talent. It's attracting the most proportional demographics to balance out some mythical, correct aesthetic of a workforce. I posted this earlier on Twitter related to something else, but I think it's worth repeating. Let me find it here. Where did it go? There it is. All right. Now I must note, I did not write this. I am quoting someone, but it is as good a definition of what DEI at its base is attempting to do within woke ideology. So this is a quote. Quote, wokeism is the belief that, one, all of society is currently and intentionally structured to oppress. 2, all gaps in performance between large groups illustrates this. And 3, the solution is equity or proportional representation without regard to performance. And that's a quote from Wilfred Riley, a college professor and apparently a fan of the Dune universe. Yeah, it's not about making things fair. It's not about looking for the best talent. It's about being a warrior against a battle that is a system that is perpetually bad, always has been bad, will never be good, and it's actively bad right now. And the only way to address this bad is to do bad things. But not call them bad things, call them virtuous things, because we're putting right what once went wrong. Like a completely deranged Sam Beckett. Yeah.
you want the best talent out there. You want them to contribute to your organization's success.
What if the best talent is a straight white male? And why would I feel the need to ask that question, even rhetorically? What if the best talent, if you're just assessing on the basis of talent, what if it is a straight white male? Is that someone that our speaker, or speakers in this case, would see as a prime candidate? I do have to ask that question.
So that's from a business standpoint, that's why it's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have some questions that I would love to ask you all, but for the participants, we have a Q&A button on the bottom of your screen that you all can click on if you have questions for our panelists. Would love for this to be an interactive conversation. So I'm going to jump into the questions I have, and then we'll see what else we come up with as we continue the conversation.
That's kind of my game plan for this whole stream. We'll see what we come up with as we continue. Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's have some questions. Yay.
So would love to start off with, just a little bit about what your business does and what your organization does internally to promote a culture of inclusion.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear how Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona? I'd love to hear exactly what is their internal process for this.
And let's start off with you, Alexander.
Okay.
Oh, the community college. Yeah, what do you do? What specifically do you do at your community college? Which again, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to hazard a guess in some way, shape, or form is the recipient of federal financial assistance.
Just for everyone to understand and know the structure of our institution, I work for Maricopa Community Colleges.
Maricopa Community College. Okay, Maricopa Community College. Hold on. Maricopa, get the copa, Copacabana. At the Copa, Copacabana. Let's see. Fundraising. Where do you get your fund? Federal funding. Maricopa Community Colleges receives federal funding for programs such as behavioral health, construction trades, and student grants. Well, there you go. All right, so Maricopa Community College is, presumably, operating under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which means that you cannot discriminate in programs and activities based on race, on sex, on religion, on country of origin, and I think a couple other things that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But either way, the big ones. And so, yes, how do you infuse inclusion into your community college?
We have 10 colleges, and each of our colleges is independently accredited. So we do have different structures depending on the college, but as a district, we do have a Center for Excellence and Inclusive Democracy, which we come together with our Diversity Advisory Council, which has representatives from each of the colleges that are present, and we are in district-wide discussions. But GCC specifically.
Yes, GCC specifically, and I'll take that as a template for what's going on at all of your colleges across the entire district in these federally funded educational institutions. Go ahead.
The things that we do, we have both a diversity committee as well as a DEI council. Our diversity committee, just to help people understand and get the context, is focused on celebrations of diversity throughout the year. So they focus on
celebrations of diversity throughout the year. So they're a racially segregated party planning organization. Oh, wait. Well, and it's not just race, right? No, it's race, gender, and orientation. Yeah.
On a lot of the programs that we have, they work with our Office of Student Life and our employees to create diversity celebrations.
How are these educational? No, I know it's a crazy question to ask. It is a crazy question to ask what educational value is there in a diversity celebration? What is a college student who is paying tuition? What is the nation on the whole who's, funding you in part through tax money? the state as well. What exactly is the educational value of a celebration of diversity? A specific element of diversity, I'm assuming.
And then our DEI council, that's more strategically structured to where we have leaders from all across the college sort of getting that DEI education across to the leaders so that it's not just, oh, Alexander, that's our DEI person, and that's the person we're expected to do all of this work. No.
What work? Now, specifically, what do you do?
The work happens throughout the institution. I can
What work?
talk about all the things that we do
I would love for you to talk about all the things that you do specifically.
because there are so many people doing the work.
The work, it still sounds like this religious mantra. Ever since there's a video on my channel, guys, that's just called "The Work," because they can't help but say this over and over and over again, like it is a religious quest to do this work, to do this difficult work, etc. And so the work, always the work. What goes into the work at Maricopa Community College for the DEI committee or council or whatever it is?
Across the institution. So our leaders continue to educate themselves in DEI, but I'm also in that space with the leaders to be able to have some of those discussions with them to ensure that equity focusedness or equity mindedness is at the top of everything that they do.
Equity mindedness. Now let's remind ourselves what the actual definition of equity in this situation is. Proportional representation without regard to performance. One more time. This is the best definition I have heard of for equity in the context of DEI to this point. Proportional representation without regard to performance. It's just about window dressing. It's just about the aesthetic, not about the result, not about the quality, just so you can feel good by the look.
So they approach things not with the deficit mindset that, oh, this person can't succeed because X, Y, and Z.
This person can't succeed because they don't have the skills, the talent, the ability, or the drive to do so. Oh, okay. Then what is it?
No, we think about, well, what is it that we need to change? How do we mold things in order to ensure that that success happens?
Right. So rig the result. When you stop and you think about it and you listen to it in portions for a second, it's not about that this person can't succeed. How can we make sure they do succeed? How can we arrange and organize things around their skill set so it still looks like they get a prize at the end? It's, eventually the truth comes out if you let somebody talk long enough.
Outside of that, we also have a program that focuses specifically on our staff members, moving away from our faculty members, specifically on staff and administration.
In what way?
Focusing on how the mentorship happens based on the person, not necessarily the job that they're doing, but building trust and building relationships with the people that they are leading, our leaders as they have those conversations, but also making the space for the employee to have a conversation with the leader that they and understand that that conversation is not necessarily leading to some sort of disciplinary action, but that they want it to be a two-way conversation.
What are you talking about?
But we also have courses that are focused on our faculty members and how do we create equity in our courses and focusing on the universal design for learning and
so equity, universal design for learning, i.e., how do we configure things so that someone always succeeds even if they don't actually earn anything in the process? Okay.
How the education is not just top down, where the educator is coming in telling the student how things are done, but also making space for students to give feedback on the assignments, feedback on the course and how it's running so that we can assess what we're doing.
Teacher, this is too hard. Make it easier for me. Because of equity, I shall do what I can to make it easier for you. Thanks. I'm going to go back to my Candy Crush or whatever the kids are playing these days, Shadow Legends or Minecraft or Fortnite or dark tide. I don't know.
And change a lot of those techniques in our classes to make sure that they are meeting the needs of the students.
Meeting the needs of the students. I just have an image of like someone saying, I need you to meet my needs. And then some guy comes out and puts those bumpers along the gutters in the bowling alley so that no matter what, the bowling ball is going to hit those pins.
But also reaching them and getting the knowledge out that we need to get to them in whatever format or fashion that we have. So I guess I said a lot.
You did. You said a lot. There were a lot of words that you did say out loud. It's true. There's a but coming, isn't there?
But probably not too much, but to
you know, sometimes it pays to be cynical and jaded. Ay, caramba. Oi, caramba. That's what I have to say. Squizzles. Squizzles. Scribe, go to bed. It's past your bedtime, young man, and you need your beauty sleep. Boy, howdy, do I ever. Man, I look in the mirror every day and I think, gosh, I ain't getting any prettier.
to sort of minimize that, to make it simple, our DEI efforts are a two-way street. It's not just coming top down, it's also going bottom up, regardless of whatever we're looking at.
That makes absolutely no sense. You said a lot of things and said nothing. And even you are aware of that. It's something else. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he's at least self-aware enough to know that he was babbling and giving nothing. But what he did give us only underscored the fact that it's all regressive nonsense. Reconfiguring the programs to make sure the students succeed. Okay, that is the glorified equivalent of a participation ribbon and just rigging the system so that everybody wins. Okay. If you never have to work for anything, you don't know the value of work in the work.
I love that. And
Of course you love that. Why? Why do you love that? Why is that an acceptable breakdown of what he does at his school? He said, he intimated and implied quite a bit, but as far as specifics go, he said absolutely nothing. He basically said the DEI committee exists to teach DEI. You love that. Maybe you do. Maybe not having to specify what it is you do allows you to get a paycheck for anything. Nice work if you can get it.
I think, the piece that I'm going to call out of what you said is just the fact that this isn't one person's job.
No. There's a whole industry that's been built around this for the last 10 years or more. Oh yeah, no, it's just not one person. It's not one person's job, but it's a lot of people's grift.
It's everybody's job in the organization. And I see, all of your heads shaking yes, because I think that's that's something that is really critical that folks sometimes forget. That
No. I am not allowed to forget how it's everybody's job. It has to be everybody's job. It has to be part of everything that you do. It has to be the air that you breathe, the water that you swim in. It has to be. Because if it's not, then I have no job, is what the consultant says, is what the executive officer says. You have to believe in the necessity of DEI. Otherwise, there is no DEI.
It's not just the DEI person or the HR person. Everyone is responsible for the culture, Michelle, as you mentioned earlier, and for this conversation. So the person with the title never has to take responsibility for things going badly. If you can even correctly assess what is good or bad in a DEI setup, save for the aesthetics, I suppose.
Yeah, because if it starts going wrong, then obviously not the entire team is on board. It can't be the responsibility of the person with the title. No. It's everybody's responsibility. I'm just there with the title to make sure everybody stays in line with whatever I say on a given day.
Michelle would like to ask if there's anything you would like to add about what your organization's doing.
I bet Michelle would love to add something. A couple more hellos here. Read by nature. Good evening. These people are too used to business babble that they swallow an empty jargon. Yeah. Well, I mean, it reinforces that it gives them the freedom to not have to justify their own positions. Right. If you celebrate something that just underpins your own lack of relevance, you can pretend like you've got extra support and, validation. It's great. Dexter's Killer Lab. Hello. I also saw Dina B. Not Dina A. That's a different Dina. This is Dina B. And Nate Mal's participation trophies. Yes, participation trophies, participation. I think ribbons. I think participation ribbons. They're like less. They cost less and they mean less and they're thin and they're cheap and they're flimsy. You still get one.
Our organization does something similar to what Alexander explained.
Really? Okay, so Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona does something similar to what Alexander explained. And what did Alexander explain? Absolutely nothing, save for giving a very candid definition, whether he was aware of it or not, of gaming the system for the appearance of success. Is that the kind of thinking that operates inside of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona? Oh, please tell me so.
We have executive level support. We have a leadership council that's actually run by our employees.
A leadership council run by our employees. Okay.
And annually, every year, we have 15 to 18 members of the council who arrange the activities, the education.
What kind of activities? Education on what?
And help to liaise with our affinity groups.
Affinity group? Oh! What are the odds? That wasn't that I swear to God, that was not planned. I did not do a promo about affinity groups at the top of this show with the expectation that affinity groups be brought up in this thing. But hey, here we are. Is Private School Village advising you on your affinity group setup at Blue Cross Blue Shield, Arizona? By any chance? Oh, tell me about your affinity groups. Not ERGs, affinity groups.
We currently, as an organization, have 9 standing affinity groups.
Oh, boy, please list them. Please, and tell me that veterans are the last ones you mention. Come on.
And what's interesting about them is that while some of them are culturally based.
Oh, so you have like a Polish affinity group and a Romanian affinity group and a Dutch affinity group, that kind of thing?
Many of them are simply based on how employees view key roles in their life and they want support.
So like maybe like a single parent affinity group, or I don't know, billiard ball builders group or something.
And allies in that area of their life. So as an example,
give me an example.
We have a caregivers affinity group.
Oh, okay. So like parents or people taking care of their, let's see, elderly parent, let's say, or another family member or something like that.
And this audience of people want support from other employees in this area of their life. And our affinity groups create that environment where people feel safe and can have those conversations and find support.
No. Well, I must be wearing orthopedic shoes because I stand corrected. I mean, that on the surface sounds almost productive. Okay, well. Anything else you'd like to tell us about your affinity groups?
So it's not only supported and advocated on the part of our leadership, but we also have the leadership council that pushes out a lot of the education and development. And our affinity groups are the way in which all of our employees, all 3,200, can participate.
Would you like to tell us about the other 8 affinity groups and what they're based on?
In our DE&I efforts. And
what does caregiving have to do with DEI? I know it sounds. I mean, it sounds fine on the surface, but that seems like completely like separate from DEI initiatives. What does that have to do with DEI?
have a say in our DE&I efforts.
Okay, well, now I'm going to have to look up. Okay. Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Arizona, affinity groups. Okay. All right, here we are. I have the list in front of me. I'm just going to read them off, and you can look this up for yourself. Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Arizona affinity groups. Number 1, Asian American affinity group. Number 2, Champions Rise group. Is that for like gladiators or something? Next, Latin American Cultural Organization, or LACO. LACO. Military Affinity Group. I knew it was in there somewhere. I knew veterans would be in there somewhere. Military Affinity Group, or MAG. Hand me another MAG. Muslim Heritage Affinity Group. Shalom Affinity Group. Spectrum Affinity Group. I can only imagine. Thrive Affinity Group. Wasn't that like a multi-level marketing company? The Coalition. That sounds like either a really like dark superhero group or like a sinister bad guy group from a comic book. The Coalition. And lastly, Women Lead Affinity Group, or Women Led Affinity Group, I suppose. Don't eat paint chips, kids. Okay. Blue Cross Blue Shield Arizona also has a DEI leadership council that works to improve DEI internally and externally, whatever that means. Let's see. No, I don't want that. I want to tell me more about your affinity groups. Make a real difference, inspire health and make it easy. Diversity and inclusion. There we go. Diversity, equity, inclusion. We'll see how long this website stays up after the current changes taking place in the government elsewise. Click here to watch our DEI efforts at Arizona Blue from the past year. Click here to learn more about Arizona Blue diversity. Sure. Okay. Well, I'll leave that up for later. We'll get back to the talk, and we'll look at Blue Cross Blue Shield Arizona's diversity chart shortly.
Thanks, Michelle. And I will add that Blue Cross Blue Shield has been a phenomenal partner with One Community and has rolled out a lot of the One Community Institute classes to their team members.
Oh, so they're a constant customer of your services. All right.
Which has been, I think, well received. And Michelle, I want to.
Well, do they have a choice but to receive them well? I mean, if somebody did have any kind of, complaint or exception to them, what would happen to that person? If someone objected to being talked down to like they're a 3-year-old and made to feel like they have to assess people on the basis of their skin color or something, what would happen to that employee? I wonder.
I just call out one piece that you said there on the affinity groups.
Sure.
I think folks are searching for and want that connection at work and want to have those feelings of belonging.
Not at work. No. Work is for work. If I want to socialize, that's after. Those are the hours where I'm not being paid, because I'm there to work and not sit in a support group based on my race or something. And in fact, out of that list of affinity groups, I mean, maybe it's named differently. Maybe the Champions Rise group is the caregivers group. or maybe the Thrive affinity group or the Coalition. I don't know. There's such abstract names. I wonder which one is the Caregivers affinity group.
So having those affinity groups that aren't just, what their traditional, this is what diversity is.
You mean the things that actually DEI focuses on, which makes them effectively irrelevant to a whole DEI program? Is that what you mean?
But thinking about all of the different facets of a person and how you can bring them to the table. So I love that you all do that. So thank you.
All the different facets of a person. You guys, I should say, Blue Cross Blue Shield has 1, 2 clearly stated racial affinity groups, 1, 2 explicitly stated religious affinity groups, and at least 1 specifically gender-based affinity group, and then some others that are, at least by their names, kind of ambiguous, save for the military affinity group. So yeah, Champions Rise Spectrum. I mean, I could assume that is for neurodivergence, to be politically correct about it. Thrive, I have no idea. The Coalition, I have no idea. Okay. Well, anyway.
Carmen?
Yeah. So echoing a lot of what we've heard from the other two speakers, but key, most important, executive support.
Executive support. Yes, you must get executive buy-in so that everybody is on the block if they do something wrong, and they're not allowed to do anything wrong.
Right. Executive support followed by clear communication, right? We have a
right.
very strong why organizationally of why inclusion is important to us, why belonging is important to us.
I got a question. Why do you need a why? If it's so obvious, if it's just a natural, what is the necessity of constantly having to explain and justify yourselves? Doesn't that sound a little weird?
And if that is a miss in anybody's organization, if that communication isn't there, people fill in the blanks, and they fill in the blanks, unfortunately, with the wrong thing. So that clear. Like
what? If it's not cut and dry, if there's that much room for confusion, is that because it lacks definition?
Repeatable narrative of why this is important to us is really something that really bakes into the culture then.
That you're starting to make it sound like it's a mantra. It's something you have to constantly repeat to yourself in the face of opposing information. I know, asking, trying to answer a question with a question. Why? Why does there have to be a constant why?
Education is incredibly important, right?
I assume so, right?
Starting with the senior executives of the organization, moving down through our other leadership. Again, exploring the depth and breadth of what D, E, and I and B is.
D, E, N, I, and B. Oh, we got belonging in there. Okay. Because right now, a lot of places are adding the A. I'm seeing in some official documents and things from organizations, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is what they're putting in there. I think I've mentioned before, Sister Scribe got roped into a DEIA situation at her place, and she elected to be part of the A element. And accessibility in that context just meant people being able to do their work from home, because this was during the lockdown period and everything. And so accessibility to their ability to do their work. And I thought, well, of all the things in that list, that is the most explicably practical and has nothing to do with assessing people on their race, gender, whatever else. Just like, if I need to be able to do my job remotely, I need to be able to have the resources to do so. So if I need a laptop from work specifically to do that, if I need a connection or a VPN or something else, great. I was like, okay. I'm glad Sister Scribe picked the least discriminatory or regressive element of the whole process if she had to take part at all. But yeah. Memes of destruction. Hello. Good evening. Anybody else I missed in the meantime? I hope not. But it's possible. Let's see. Did I already say hi to Scanner Daffley? Scanner Daffley, hello. And I think so. All of my night owls with me.
Making sure that people understand that DEI and B is for everybody,
Is it though? Is it really?
right? So
Right.
everybody has a seat at the table.
But do they? And if everybody has a seat at the table, how exclusive is that table? And if there's no filtering process, then do you really know you've got the best at the table based on merit? Or is it just everybody shows up and it turns into it? You know, there's a reason why when I have a live stream with other people on it, I have a rule that I've stuck to pretty well. There's been a couple of exceptions, but fortunately, things got organized. But never have more than 5 people on a live stream at a time. Never. It becomes difficult. There's a lot of crosstalk, lag between one person and another can cause a whole bunch of problems, and sometimes get very messy, very disorganized. If you have very practiced live streamers who have a sense of, when to wait their turn and this kind of thing, and, know the routine, then sure, maybe more than that. But generally speaking, don't have more than 5, because then you don't get anything done. It's hard to have a productive conversation when everybody's all over the place. The sort of sweet spot for me is 4 people, myself included. So me and like 3 other people. That's perfect. 5 is like the absolute max. I have had more than that on my show before, or on my channels before, but that's usually with people who are, most especially like true crime content creators. As I've learned, and this is not a dig on them at all, true crime content creators are reluctant to speak up unless they're called upon, which makes them great guests for a panel discussion, because then that just sort of allows me to sort of naturally moderate, which is great. More power to them. But anyway, yeah, so everybody has a seat at the table. It becomes a very, very incoherent conversation real quick. I know, just a metaphor, but still.
Everybody has a valid view that we want to hear and understand.
No, they don't. No. Not everyone has a valid view. It's not true. It's not true. Okay. I mean, I guess it all depends on what you're talking about, but generally speaking, everybody does not have a valid view on any one particular subject necessarily. I mean, if I was sat at a table, literally or figuratively, to discuss economics, with a whole bunch of people who had degrees in economics, my view, as compared to everybody else at the table, is entirely invalid. I'd just be an idiot. No, that's not how the world works. That's how equity works, though.
and we want to have healthy tension and narrative around, right?
Healthy tension and narrative? What?
We have 11 employee network groups.
Employee network groups? ENGs? Oh, they must be better than ERGs.
And they also are many times our arms and legs into the community. So taking the important work that we do internally and then helping, whether it's nonprofits or different areas in the company, different areas in the communities that we serve throughout the state of Arizona.
What are your employee network groups? Can you give us a couple of examples?
And then kind of lastly, interrogating the how that we do things. We're 130 plus years old.
Wow. Do you get a discount for the bus?
As a company, right? So you can only imagine how hard it is sometimes to change the how that we do things.
Well, I'm assuming that not everybody who works at your organization is 130 years old. Or are they? Are you like the Ponce de Leon Society or something?
And it's the way we've always done things, right?
Right, the way we've always done things. We've been discriminatory and racist for 130 years. Why change now?
But really taking an eye towards things of saying, okay, is there anything systemic in any of the hows that we're doing that we can be better, right?
DEI is systemic. DEI it's a system. It's a program. It's a policy. It has to be woven into everything that everybody does. It's not just one person's job. It's everybody's job. DEI is systemic. You know, think about that.
Right? Anything that was maybe developed years ago that we need to make sure is modernized today.
Oh, yeah, like the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Yeah, how let's modernize that with DEI, right?
And reflective of the workforce today.
Oh, reflective of the workforce today. Like what? Specifically, what? What policy or procedure was part of your organization that needed to be changed based on what the workforce is today? Can you give us an example? Dare I hope for one?
So that takes a lot of kind of inward looking,
navel gazing,
a lot of interrogation and vulnerability from that perspective.
I don't even know what that means.
To end up with a better product on the outcome.
Like what? You know, it really is endemic. That's a really good word. It's really endemic to diversity executives and advocates and proponents to say a lot of stuff, but never really tell you what they're talking about. We should all be used to this by now. If you're not used to it by now, I hate to tell you this, this is the common through line. You know, you can tell when somebody's just selling you a bill of goods when they never actually give you an itemized list.
Awesome. Thanks, Carmen. And, you know, I think just to call out one of the pieces that you mentioned is, you know, starting with the top down. I think sometimes when we're working with folks in the C-suite, it can be a little bit difficult to help them along on their journey.
It can be hard to convince them of the return on investment for this diversity, equity, and inclusion training program that I have right here for a subscription fee. And it'd be cheaper in the long run if you just hired me as your DEI executive. I know I keep pointing to this McKinsey study from a decade ago that hasn't proven out to be true. But I swear, guys, I'm telling you, if you institute these programs and cut me a hefty paycheck, it'll totally help your organization. I know it's an uphill battle with you guys who are looking at the numbers, the hard, indisputable numbers, and the trends in DEI shedding that's been taking place in corporate America and Silicon Valley the last 3-4 years. It's difficult. I know it's tough to see the value in this, the tangible, provable, demonstrable value. But I swear, guys, I swear, it's worth it. Trust me.
And bring them along on their journey. And so starting there, and really, I joke around that I don't ever do C-suite trainings. I do briefings because they already know all the things that they need to know. I'm just reminding them, you know.
You're a nag. I'm a confessed nag. That's what I'm doing. Many a truth is said in jest.
Of course, bringing them along. So perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd also say just sitting here in front of the three of you.
There are three lights.
You know, you are three powerhouse employers.
Well, I mean, I assume Blue Cross Blue Shield is community college, not sure. And I honestly forget what the other lady was doing, something with Arizona Public something or other.
In Arizona.
Yeah.
And beyond, I should say. But, you know, especially in Arizona. And so, you know, I would love to know, we have a question from Martin. So what do you think the future of diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and accessibility will be moving forward?
Whoa. Diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and accessibility. DEIJA? Okay, I admit I hadn't heard that one before. Okay, so they added J back. They're not calling it Jedi because that's far too corporate and is associated with a fantastical franchise. But Deija, Deja. Wait, Deja? Hold on. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Wait, Deja Vu? No. Okay. So just as an aside. So the organization called Bridge, or wearebridge.com, its founder, its CEO and founder, is a lady named Cheryl Daija, spelled Daija. For a second, I thought that was some kind of real subtle connection, because I couldn't remember how her last name was spelled, but it's Daija, not Deija. But interesting nonetheless. Okay, so Deja Vu, Deija. All right, I'll keep that in mind for future reference.
As it seems many are successfully shutting down or impacting the work, and many in leadership are bending to the whims of those bastardizing the work under the auspice of wokeness.
wait. I got to back up. Let's get this question in its fullness here. Okay, let me back up a little second here. Okay.
I'd also say, just sitting here in front of the three of you, you are three powerhouse employers.
Yeah, powerhouse employers
in Arizona and beyond, I should say.
Get to the question.
But especially in Arizona. And so, I would love to know, we have a question from Martin. So what do you think the future of diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and accessibility will be moving forward? As it seems many are successfully shutting down or impacting the work, and many in leadership are bending to the whims of those bastardizing the work under the auspice of wokeness.
Which it is.
Or that diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and accessibility work is discriminatory.
It is. It inherently is. You know what? This was worth the wait. We've gotten through nearly 17 minutes of an hour-long presentation. I know, it's a slog. But this is the kind of question that I would, if I knew the audience that I'd be posing the question to, that kind of stealth in to see what their response would be. So, and I might end the stream on this just after their answers. So that's, what do you do? What do you say when everybody is shutting down DEIJA and calling it woke? What's your response to that? Oh, powerhouse employers.
So I know that was a mouthful. Would love to hear, Michelle, if we can start with you, what your thoughts are on that. I know we just got some news yesterday about McDonald's, and, we've heard from a lot of different companies here recently, but what are your thoughts on this, Michelle?
Yeah, so McDonald's, at least on the surface. Remember, guys, here's the thing, and I'm being very serious here. This is not joking. When a company says that they are getting rid of or shutting down their DEI programs and such, don't take it at face value. Okay? A lot of these institutions, and I'm going to be talking about a couple of them on the Sunday stream in a couple of days on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. They may be getting rid of the organizations in name only. If they're retaining the same people, if they're just changing titles, moving departments from one building to another and switching the labels around, still have to remain vigilant. It's a good sign. It doesn't mean that the work is going away. Okay, but she brings up McDonald's, which recently, amongst many other companies, are starting to draw down, unwind, or at least publicly get rid of their DEI programs. So what do our powerhouse employers have to say about that?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of a shame.
Shame. Oh, wait.
But
yeah.
I think that it's going to be, it's work that has to be done from a.
Why? Why does it have to be done? What is the imperative?
Business standpoint, it has to support the business and the hiring, bringing in the right talent, ensuring that they stay with your organization, ensuring that they have an environment in which they can deliver their very best to your company is critical no matter which organization you are.
Why is this necessary to achieve those ends? And I'm asking that sincerely. I would love to hear a detailed explanation as to why, in our speaker's mind, DEI is necessary to achieve those ends in retention, in hiring, talent, etc. Why specifically? Okay. What would the absence of DEI undo when it comes to that? What does DEI specifically do to increase retention? What does DEI specifically do in attracting talent?
So no matter what they call it, whether they call it DE&I or they call it inclusion, they call it belonging, it will still be a part of how and what organizations do. And
and like I say, in a way, she's not wrong. Like I say, you have to be vigilant about this stuff. You have to watch what they do, not just the label they put on it, right? So McDonald's might get rid of their DEI programs, but if they still make statements or if they're still putting out material or something talking about their demographic percentages and leadership goals and this, that, and the other, they just don't call it DEI. Well, they call it impact. They call it people management, whatever. They add some new phrase to it. 6 of one thing, half a dozen of the other. So in a way, she's not wrong. A lot of companies will still push this stuff, try to get away with it. But she's not making a good case for keeping it, just sort of giving away the playbook for how people are going to continue to do it.
should do to ensure that they create the environment where employees want to work.
Why do employees want to work at a company that divvies them up on the basis of race? In any way, shape, or form? I mean, your affinity groups do that in part. They encourage that kind of thinking. I mean, there's an Asian affinity group. You have Asian American Affinity Group, Latin American Culture Organization. There's no white affinity group. There's no black affinity group. There's no Pacific Islander affinity group. There's no Native American affinity group. As far as I can tell, some of these names are ambiguous. Right. I don't see an affinity group for disabled people, unless that's Champions Right. I don't even know what these things do. I mean, who are you excluding with all of your inclusion?
And stay to be a strong employer or a recognized employer.
A recognized employer. Oh, so you're just doing it for the brownie points?
Thanks, Michelle.
Really? That's an acceptable answer to you? Okay.
Carmen?
Yeah, I think it is a challenging space that we're in right now.
And I'm so glad for it. You're challenged to have to justify everything you're doing up against the changing tides. However,
if I zoom out, because so often we get very myopic in what's happening like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about things, I always say in the organization, an organization has to breathe, right? And sometimes that's an inhale and sometimes that's an exhale.
What in the world are you talking about?
And the pace of change has to be consumable. And so there are times where I think we look at things and we think, gosh, this is coming to a stop. But I firmly believe that the world doesn't go backwards, right?
I believe the world will go backwards if you allow it to. I believe that people aren't vigilant if they don't learn the lessons of the past, if they don't see through the labeling to recognize bad ideas repackaged. We could easily go backwards. And in a lot of ways we have. That is such a ridiculous way to look at things.
This may be a pause.
But this may be a pause. It may, yeah, things might slow down for DEI.
I also look at it sometimes like, how you lose weight. Nobody loses weight in a straight line, right? Sometimes it goes up a little bit, sometimes it goes down a little bit, right?
Only if you're not consistent and dedicated and disciplined. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, it takes time. There's steps forward and there's steps backward.
What are you what are you talking about? Okay, forget the analogies, skip the metaphors. What are you talking about?
But ultimately, it's arcing in the right direction.
What?
And I think we're at one of those spaces right now. And for many years, we haven't felt the significance of the pause that we are maybe feeling today. But I think at the end of the day, the world will move forward. It may not be at the pace that we wish it to be, but it'll be at the consumable pace that everybody will be able to kind of consume. And I think it's important that we become incredibly good at storytelling.
I just let her go. I just let her go. I just. Good at storytelling. Okay, well, if your focus is to become good at storytelling, I got to tell you, this is a poor performance.
Incredibly good at storytelling, because to effectuate that change, you've got to have a powerful story that changes individual hearts and minds.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that unfortunately your story is pure fiction. It's based on nothing.
And it has to be something that can be relatable, and something that is really going to have somebody walk away and feel moved by that.
Yeah, I know. I feel moved right now. The water closet.
And I think that is something we can all continue to keep working on.
What? You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, do you? You absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
As we work through this period of time.
And I'm done. All right. Well, we got one more speaker left to respond to this question. And then I think I will start winding things down for this show. Because, at some point I do need to go to bed because I have to get up in the morning and do work.
Thanks, Carmen.
Really? Okay, yes. All right. Last but not least, our community college guru.
Alexander?
So, thinking about this from a constitutional standpoint, because I think a lot of people don't always think constitutionally.
Hey, I think constitutionally all the time when it comes to DEI. I think about Title VI, I think about Title VII, I think about the 14th Amendment, I think about the Supreme Court and their affirmative action decision. I think about those things all the time. By all means, I'd love to have a conversation about the constitutionality of DEI, given that the diversity argument is what ultimately failed to convince the justices that affirmative action should stick around. But go ahead.
Whether or not DEI is something that is constitutional,
it's not,
or goes against the Constitution.
It does.
As an institution itself, it's not necessarily supported by the Constitution, meaning we.
What? Wait, what? Okay. Well, now this is a concession I didn't imagine I'd hear. Really? Okay. Well, go on.
Something that is constitutional or goes against the Constitution. As an institution itself, it's not necessarily supported by the Constitution, meaning we're not required to have offices. We're not required to have staff. Those are not things that are inalienable rights that we can't get rid of.
What? Whoa, what? Just when I thought that something interesting was going to happen, Yeah, you're right. There's nothing under the Constitution that says your particular office has to exist. What?
But as an individual behavior,
What?
it is part of the Constitution.
What is part of the Constitution as an individual behavior? What?
We have the right to this equality that we're supposed to be promised, but in order to get that, you have to have education around that. We also have to think about, as my colleague was saying, the storytelling. Who gets to tell the story is the person who's most powerful. When we think about policies being written, all policies are just power that has been institutionalized.
Like the Constitution? What exactly are you disparaging here?
What does that look like when we're writing that policy?
What does that look like when we're writing that? I don't know. Someone with a pen in their hand and a piece of paper?
You know, who was in the room to establish the power necessary?
Who was in the room? I mean, I know what you mean. I want to hear you say what you mean.
To set that power structure up.
Well, so what exactly are you saying then about the Constitution?
We also have to know that as semantics plays a part in it. So there are many institutions across the country that are, as we're talking about, changing the name. Some of them in states where there's not even anything anti-DEI that's going on. They're just preparing for those changes to happen in the future.
Uh-huh. And
I think the most important person or group of people is whoever you call your clients, regardless of your employees. You want people to come back to support your business. And if they feel like you don't know anything about them, you don't have any product that relates to them, you can't speak their language, whatever it may be.
what are you run a community college? What are you talking about?
The bottom line, you won't have them and you won't have your business for long. So
you know what else? You know what else might cause you to not have your business for long? Massive civil rights lawsuits, right? Violations of EEOC guidelines and constitutional law. Those might end your business real quick if those rules were actually enforced. And I got to tell you, if everything else happened in the last couple of weeks, I have more hope than ever that those rules might actually start being enforced by the federal government. I mean, cross fingers, knock on wood, or Formica, but you know what I mean.
If you decide to take it out, you're going to have to think about those people that are going to, whether or not they're going to return.
Who is not going to return? People who support DEI? People who virtue signal and complain about things on the basis of race or gender or otherwise in order to make themselves feel important and special on the basis of their race or their gender? Oh, are those the kind of clients you want to attract to yourself? Okay. Ask Marvel how that's working out for them. Ask DC. Looking for this magical modern audience that's going to fill their coffers with righteous dollars. How's that working out?
And how the culture of your institution, your business is going to change over time, and what are the long-term effects?
What are the long-term effects of getting rid of a demonstrably discriminatory and illegal operation within a company operating in the United States? I don't know. Maybe continued existence and viability?
I also believe that a lot of the fear that we face right now is because for a long time, people have just pushed people of color or somebody else in the DEI role. That person didn't have the knowledge that you want them to bring to the table, and they should not have the responsibility of trying to educate you on everything diversity related.
Wait a second. So somebody accepted a job without having the relevant skills to fulfill the necessities of the position? But at the same time, now that they've taken that job, it's not their responsibility to fulfill the position's required. What? What's that?
So then you want them to try to defend why DEI is important, but they haven't had that education. Maybe.
Wait. Somebody accepts a job with the title of DEI executive and they don't know what DEI is, nor can defend or define it for the justification of their own position. Captain DN, I don't want to go to bed either, LOL. What are we watching? Chloroform in sound form is what we're listening to. Holy caramba. Captain DN, which is one extra letter better than Captain N, who was trapped in a Nintendo game. But he got to run around with a, for cartoon territory, attractive Princess Zelda, I think it was. Wasn't it Princess Zelda? I think it was Zelda. Because it was Simon Belmont, Captain N, Mega Man, Zelda, and I think it was Zelda. Pretty sure. It was a version of Zelda. And wasn't there somebody else? There was like a pet animal. Did his dog come with him too? I think his dog came with the car. No, the dog was left behind. That's right. Wasn't there like an animal that went around with them? I'm trying to remember what the Captain N team was made up of. Oh no. Anyway, as soon as this guy's done, I'm wrapping this up. I don't know if I can listen to much more of this. I do need to. I honestly do need to go to bed at some point here because I have to get up at 4 a.m. to do invoicing.
Maybe they're lucky enough and you invested in their professional development and now they can do that. But for a lot of companies, they haven't done those things. So if you are hiring or thinking about DEI in your institution, make sure that you have someone that's able to help your company defend why it is important and why.
Oh, wait. You want to hire somebody into a position of DEI that already has the knowledge, the skills, and the experience necessary to fulfill the requirements of the position? And not just put them in the job because they look a particular way, as you just said was the wrong way to go? Huh. Well, how very anti-DEI of you.
Why it's valuable, and also know the legalities behind it.
Oh, yeah, please do tell me the legalities behind setting quotas based on race, gender, etc. Tell me about racially segregated groups within your company. Or religiously exclusive groups within your company, to the exclusion of any other religion. And maybe not the community college, but I'm talking specifically about the Blue Cross Blue Shield lady. And the other lady had the employee network groups.
So I don't think a lot of people always think about those things when they just push somebody over here. Oh, you have your diversity person. That's an important role that is critical to maintaining DEI in your institution.
Okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I think that's more than enough. Contradictions, convolutions, blatherskite. Blatherskite. There's another reference. Game Boy was also, that's right, Game Boy was, and that was the effective pet, Game Boy. All right, Game Boy. And they'd always be fighting Mother Brain. Oh, Mother Brain. Sounded like Little Richard kind of thing. Yeah, Mother Brain. Oh, I did promise that we'd look at the Blue Cross Blue Shield diversity chart. So let's do that. On the off chance that anybody wants me to continue looking at this panel discussion, for the record, we are at 23 minutes exactly on the clock. So I'll keep this in my library. And on the off chance anybody wants me to do a part 2 on this particular panel discussion, we can pick that up at another time. But first and foremost, let's get rid of that. Go back over to... I'm currently obscured. Captain Ramius is obscured. That's not right. That's not correct. Let's unobscure Captain Ramius here. And let's instead take a real quick look at the Blue Cross Blue Shield Strength in Numbers infographic. Let's switch over to that. And let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, Strength in Numbers. This is Blue Cross Blue Shield Arizona, the Chief Diversity Officer of which was a member of the panel we just were looking at on their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Leadership Council. Strength in numbers. 91.9% employees are proud to be blue. Wait, do Smurfs work there? They have a total of 3,264 total employees. Race and ethnicity. Less than 1%, Hawaiian Pacific Islander, 1.3% American Indian Alaska Native, 6.9% Asian, 8.2% 2 or more. I think most people are... I know that I'm a mutt. 2 or more what? Skin colors? Oh. 9.6 Black African American, 23.5% Hispanic, 50% white. Oh my gosh, that disparity is just untenable. Look at that disparity, guys. That obvious racism is going on there. 71.1% men, 28.9% women. Uh-oh. 848 have worked at AZ Blue more than 10 years. Worked at AZ Blue fewer than 2 years, 893. 116 veterans. AZ Blue Board of Directors, 50% women, 25% racial ethnic minority. Well, doesn't that also mean that 50% are men? And that 75% are white? Okay, directors and above. Why are you excluding men and white people from your metrics? Directors and above, 53.8% women, 27.3% racial ethnic minority. Why are you singling out these particular demographics, combined demographics? Okay, 8,078 community service hours completed by 1,398 engaged employees in 2023. Oh, the weddings haven't happened yet? Okay. Gen Z, less than 1%. Millennials, 44.3%. Gen X, 41.4%. And boomers, 13.4%. Is boomers now an official demographic? I guess like a baby boomers. Yeah, okay. Boomers. As of November 2024. All right, well, we know what Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona's priorities are. Or who their priorities are. Or actually, no, what their priorities are. It's not about who. It's got little to do with individual characteristics. Just about the demographic. But anyway, everybody, so what did we cover today? Let's all take a moment and think about what did we learn today on the ambush stream. I need some thinking music. I need some thinking. Let's see what should I put on some thinking music. How about this? There we go. What did we learn today, everybody? Did we learn something good? We learned that Scribe had a very busy workday and work week. We learned about his travails with Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. We learned about affinity groups in private schools. And then we learned that being a DEI officer means never having to say anything coherent. Yeah, I think we all grew a little bit today. Grew in knowledge, grew in experience, grew in perspective about how the world works, how things are changing, how they're not changing at all. Everything sounds more important and vital when it has music background to it, doesn't it? Especially something like this. Thanks to Tom Connors for cooking this up for me on election night, by the way. Sounds very, very vital, very energetic. Yeah. It's very, very inspirational. Everybody, you need to be inspired. When you go away from the stream, be inspired. Be inspired to go out there and be a change maker. Find your passion, latch onto it, feed it, cultivate it, turn into something good. That's what you need to do. Here we go. Are we ready? Let's build up. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here comes the drop. Here comes the drop. Wait for it. Wait. Yeah. Uh-huh. Maybe there wasn't a drop. Anyway. There you go, everybody. There's the ambush stream for a Friday night. I gotta go to bed. I gotta do work in the morning. I do invoicing and work stuff. Whatever you do with your weekend, I hope it is fun and relaxing and entertaining. All the bad things going on in the world, we can't avoid them. They're going to happen anyway. Deal with them as we will, but don't dwell. Don't dwell. Look forward to this music. Yeah. I feel like I need like one of those little microphone things coming down just over my jawline, standing in front of an audience. kind of Anthony Robbins kind of thing going on. Tony Robbins. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Build up. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got to stop, guys. I'm too energetic. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this ambush stream. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone's here is so well behaved. You have very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself or to the charity at the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity. Very much appreciated. Yeah, okay. And everybody have a good rest of your night. Have a good weekend. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.